How's it going, everybody? Hopefully you can see me. I can I can see myself coming on here. We'll see how the sound is this week. We're trying out another iteration of the live stream setup. Hopefully it will be a little bit better even than last week's. I'm pretty happy so far using the OBS software, and I was real happy with last week's live stream. Not just from a quality perspective, but from a perspective of just hanging out with you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed it as well. I'm pulling it up here to make sure that I can hear myself. Yeah, I can. That's good. Okay. So we'll see if anybody shows up here. Trendy Shows in the house. Good to have you. If you guys can leave some chats as well, I'll make sure to follow up. I have this ability now to add the chats right on the screen. So I have Trendy Show. You're the first one in the house. Good to have you, my friend. And then we'll go through the other ones as the night goes on. But I don't have a super official video planned for tonight. So hopefully you guys will have some things that you want to talk about as well. I'm real interested in your thoughts on a lot of the new developments that we've been talking about. We started the next residential survey for the entire town, so that's always an exciting thing for me. I'm like a numbers fanatic, and I love to see projects come together. And so this is our third year doing a survey of the entire town of Kittanning. I did about a third of it on Friday, Black Friday, and it turned out we didn't have as many houses that were completely fixed up. Like last year, we had 30 different houses that. I guess I should explain the whole thing. So we ranked every single house that had any kind of damage, and so we ranked them by the severity of the damage. So that's like basically how. It's kind of like based on looks. So severity of damage would be like a 1 would be not severe at all. Like you'd have to really be looking for it in order to tell. And 5 is like a house that needs to be torn down. Like it's really bad and it's not. When you look at the outside of it, there's no redeemable qualities. And so we ranked every house that way, and then we also ranked them on how easy they are to fix. So 1 being not very easy at all, and a 5 being like we could fix it in a day of summer serve. And so after we have those rankings, we add up the scores, and then every year basically we're going through and double checking, how are we doing on our goal. Our goal is to take all of those houses and bring them down to 0. So last year 22 houses went from some kind of score down to 0. And then this year, so far, 6 houses, when I went through a third of them, were already, improved. That doesn't seem great, but we had 22 last year that went from some score to a lesser score. So they got better, but they just weren't like completely finished. And we already had 12 of those. So we're on pace to have more houses overall improved, but not quite as many like off the list, which is fine. As long as we're moving in the right direction, that's good. And our goal is that by 2027, there wouldn't be a blight problem at all in Kittanning. And I would say with the pace that we're on, we are doing very, very well in that respect. We're getting houses improved. We're seeing houses go off the list. And not only through Summer of Serve are we seeing that, but we're also seeing Habitat for Humanity do an incredible amount of work. And I would say that this year, the biggest contributor of all is private investment. I think the stimulus really helped. So when people got the $1,200 per person, if you were a family of 5 people, you got a pretty significant amount of money. And I think a lot of people then used that money to, do those home improvement projects they were waiting to do. Or, we had a lot of porches painted this year. And I know one guy specifically, he was a customer of mine. We were going to do his house for Summer of Serve. And when I went to knock on his house to see if he wanted us to help, he was already out there painting. And so there was a lot of situations like that where I think projects that people put off for a long time, this year they finally had a little bit of extra money to be able to do that when the stimulus came around. Because I don't think the employment situation really changed as much for us as it did in other areas and in other states. I think we were pretty fortunate that in our area, a lot of the jobs were essential jobs. So when you think about our biggest employers in town, some of them are manufacturers, places like Asbury Graphite that stayed open. And then you have a lot of them that were also essential workers, like the hospital is one of our biggest employers. The schools are one of our biggest employers, and the county courthouse is one of our biggest employers. And all of those stayed open for the most part throughout the the lockdown period. And so it was really it's really interesting to kind of try to analyze, why is it getting better and all that kind of stuff. But the fact is that it is definitely getting better. And I don't know if you guys were able to watch the last video either, but the new apartment building that's going in, I'd like to get your thoughts on that. It's going to go where the old junior high school was. And so you have a 30-unit apartment building there that will be primarily for elderly, some of it for low income, and some of it for market rate apartments. But I had one comment that it was like the towers, but it's really not. It's not like the high rises, in the sense that, like, for the high rises, basically, I believe you have to qualify for some kind of disability in order to be in there. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but this won't be. It won't be government owned housing, the same as the high rises are. And I'm not against the high rises at all. I think they're great to have in town. But these apartments won't be that. It'll be more like the cottages. So the cottages are, they're owned by this Trek Development Company. They manage them, they take care of the property, and then they rent them out. The cottages have been incredibly successful. They have a waiting list for people going into the cottages. And so ideally, everyone that's on that waiting list would end up in this new apartment building, and we wouldn't have that waiting list anymore. And so we would have enough housing for all the people that want to come and live in Kittanning. Then you think about 30-unit apartment building. And if it's elderly, it may be mostly single people, but let's assume half of them are single, half of them are double. That might be 45 extra people that will move into Kittanning. And they'll be right close to downtown, right close to the post office, close to the grocery store, which when you think about elderly, a lot of times they have issues getting around and they don't want to travel very far to get to those kinds of places. You have pharmacy downtown as well. So like all of that stuff is right there. And so if you're going to retire, it seems like a pretty good situation to me. Not only that, but you have right on the other end of the lot, close to Honey Bear, they're talking about leaving a lot empty there. And so potentially they would have a spot that they would be able to build for another business to move in. They had in the renderings like a bank, and they had a coffee shop, but theoretically it could be any small business that was looking for a place that was in the downtown area and would be a new construction building. So I think that would be pretty cool as well if we could get a business out of it. And then the lot where the basketball courts are now will be going back to the Historical Society. So in theory, they will do something cool with that as well, and hopefully restore that property back to what it originally was. My understanding is that that whole lot there was all was originally part of the house that's there. That is currently the Historical Society, all the way up to including the little garage there. I can't remember which one it is. Is it Smitty's garage? Anyway, one of you would be able to correct me. But if you're watching this now or if you're watching this later, I'd love to get your opinion on that. I think it's going to be great at the apartment. A lot of people wanted to see some kind of big business go in there. A lot of people wanted to see a new park or a dog park, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think having a big business in there was very realistic. Like, there's no big business that's looking to move into Kittanning. And a lot of people want to see manufacturing come back, but if you're a manufacturer, you would never move into Kittanning at this point, because the only reason that you would have in the past would have been you had the river there, so you could potentially use that to move goods up and down the river, and then you had the railroad that ran through town, and so you had access to move things that way. At this point, you're not super close. I mean, you're close to a major highway, so you can get in and out of Kittanning if you're a manufacturer, but it's not ideal. Even for that, you have no railroad, you have no river traffic at this point. So if you're going to put a manufacturer in Kittanning, you'd put it up by the hospital, or you'd put it down by North Point, something like that. So any of those kinds of things, that's what we would end up doing. But anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts. Do you have anything that you're thinking about in Kittanning, or what do you think about the town itself? Like, is it improving? I'm just realizing I never put a title on this video. All right, let me save that here. So I guess that's my thought. I just renamed it. Is Kittanning going in the right direction? I guess that's kind of like the meta question here. Are we doing any good? Do you guys feel it? Like when you walk around town, does it feel different than it felt 5 years ago? That's what I'm most curious about. Let's see. Looks like we just have a few people on tonight, so let me put your comments up. We'll see who's in the house, and I might head out early as well. So Trendy Show was first. Thank you for showing up. I'm not sure that I've ever seen you on the chat, but it's good to have you. Terry's here as always. Thank you, Terry. Scott's in the house. Thanks for showing up, Scott. GNJK, who are you talking to? I'm talking to you, man. Terry says I was correct. Smitty's Garage. Okay, good. Scott says, I think Ryan Sprankle is doing a good job on modernizing the store. Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard for years that Sprankle's, like, Kittanning was their best performing store out of all their stores. And I know I think they had one in Vandergrift at one point that they closed down, and then they reopened this other new one now. So they're back up to 3 stores, and they seem to be modernizing all of them, but this one in Kittanning is getting all the love right now. So I saw a sushi bar going in there, and then I saw, what did they open at the other one? There was another Sprankles too, where they opened like they were selling beer or something in there. I can't remember what they called it, but they had something else going on in there, but I can't remember exactly what it was. Maybe you guys will know. But I do follow them on social media, and I do think it's really cool, the investment that they're making. They did new sidewalks there. They painted both of the buildings that they had down there. They redid the windows on the one, and then they're doing all the work on the inside as well. The sushi bar's already there, and I think I think they're doing a very good job. And they do a great job of marketing. And I'm kind of like a sucker for a small town grocery store. I grew up literally in the back of a grocery store, so in a small town of Holly, Minnesota. And so I definitely I root for the small town grocery store. That's a hard business, especially these days with the likes of Walmart and Aldi in the area. And so I'm hoping that Sprankles can continue to do well and that they'll be able to stick around. I think it's a vital part of downtown, and I think they'll be the big winners, honestly, of that apartment building being built, because it'll be not even a block down the street from the front door of that new apartment. So I think that'll be really good. Scott says they did brew pub. Yeah, you're right. So I don't know what that means. Like, are they able to do? Is it actually like a bar inside the grocery store? That seems like it would have been my dream about 10 years ago. Like halfway through grocery shopping, stop. Now I'm past that life now, but back then that would have been like my favorite grocery store of all time. Let's see here. Scott says, "Me too, Andrew. I work for the big chain in town, but I shop Sprankles." Yeah, I try to pick up little stuff there whenever I can, and then my office is like a half a block from there. So anytime I need something throughout the day, normally I try to go there if I can, but obviously it doesn't always work that way. But we just do our best. I like Aldi's as well. I'm a big fan of Aldi's, like getting the non-name brand stuff at low prices. Like, I'm all about that. But you can catch good sales at Sprankles too, especially with the the meat and stuff looks to be pretty competitive. And normally you get that small town service at a grocery store like that you're never going to find at Aldi. Like, no one's going to do a special cut of meat for you at Aldi, or even probably Walmart for that matter. But at Sprinkles, you could go and order something specific. Kevin's Meats, obviously, was the other one. You could go there and get whatever you wanted custom. And those kinds of places, once they're gone, you can't really replace them. So we have to do our best to try to support those places whenever we can. Trying to see what I can do here to move this around. There we go. Sorry, I'm still learning my my whole live streaming software here. So I'm trying to like move things around smoothly, and it doesn't always work. Scott says sometimes it's better than the name brand stuff. Absolutely. I find that at Aldi's all the time. And I think when it's cheaper, it just tastes better. Maybe that's me. Free food tastes the best. I'm also, we're also working on the, it's going to be a big week for Hope Center. So we have several meetings and a big meeting tomorrow to talk about Hope Center. And so we're really in full-on fundraising mode. So I'm excited to see where that goes this week. So you guys can be watching out for other videos. I also have 3 more videos to edit from our vacation. I haven't done anything with those yet, and I really need to get those done. But when we were on vacation, we went to the Ark. So if you guys have ever heard of the big like life-size Noah's Ark that they built in Kentucky, it's absolutely incredible. Like, if you're a Christian, you need to go. Even if you're not a Christian, it's still pretty cool to see. But they had the Creation Museum and then the Ark there, and both of those things were really neat. Then we went to Nashville, and specifically Franklin, Tennessee. And so I have a video about Franklin and some thoughts that I have about it. And then we went to Deep Creek again. I only did one video while we were at Deep Creek, but it'll kind of go along with the other ones. We did a trail there and like a rock climbing. There's this big rock climbing place that's in Deep Creek that we didn't know about before, but it was really cool. So I took the drone out and we went on a little hike, and we didn't do too much rock climbing because I think almost every one of us is afraid of heights, and we didn't have anyone really there to do it right. So we'd have been climbing without any gear, which it would have ended badly. So we're not into all that. Let's see. Okay, guys. I think I'm going to call it a night. Do you guys have any other questions, comments, complaints? Anything going on? Anything in town that I should know about that you think would make a good video? I'm kind of getting back into the groove here of editing on a more regular basis. So, and did so much work at the house this weekend on the garden and the outside. So I'm like running out of things on my to-do list, which is amazing. It feels really good. Feels like I haven't been there in quite a while. We pushed so hard to do so many things this year at the house, and then I got behind throughout the summer, and then so it feels nice to be like not behind anymore, but to be proactive with the garden work. All right, I think I'm going to head out. Appreciate every single one of you guys. If you do have any questions or comments throughout the week, throw them on any video. I check all the comments that come in throughout all the videos, and I try to respond to each and every one. Doesn't always work like that, but for the most part, I'm pretty good about it. And if you guys have any other, things that are happening, or you have people that you think would want to be involved with Hope Center or with the church or with any of the other projects that we got going on, I would totally invite any of those conversations. I think we need to be looking as we enter into this new year, as we try to figure out, what does this new reality look like with coronavirus, as we come out of the whole pandemic situation, as we're entering into this new political phase. Like, things are going to be a little bit different, and so I think we need to come together as a town more than ever, and create teams and create groups within our own community, so that no matter what happens on the outside, it doesn't stop the progress that has already started. We need to continue that progress no matter what. We need to continue to drive towards these goals for Kittanning 300 and continue to make Kittanning a better place to live. So I definitely believe that we're on the right track. I desperately don't want to see us take any steps backwards. I know at the beginning of this year, when everything started to happen in March, that was my great fear. Like, everything is going to come to a halt. We're not going to make any progress in 2020. But those fears were completely unfounded, because I think God is on our side. I think we have continued to make progress despite all of the challenges, and we're going to continue to do so as long as we stick together and we stay close to Him. But that's it for today, you guys. Hopefully have a wonderful night and a great week ahead, and I will see you very, very soon.